Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to be something a little bit different. So you'll notice over here that I have this program loaded. For those of you who know who it is, what it is, For those of you who know what it is, congratulations. You've earned my respect and then some. So this is, for those who are uninitiated, this is Run 8 Train Simulator, which is, in my opinion, probably the most realistic railroad simulator that I have ever seen. If there is another one that is more realistic than this, leave it down in the comments below. I would love to hear it, and honestly, I'm all for it. If there's something better than this, I'm not going to challenge that. I'm curious. Very curious. So with Run 8 in particular, I will go right off the bat and say, unfortunately, a lot of this game's content is locked behind a paywall. A lot of this game's content is DLC based. You don't have very much when you start playing this game, and moreover, this game is the most realistic train simulator I know of as far as operations goes, not graphics. The graphics in this game are good. They are not stunning. They are not like Unreal Engine 5, Train Sim World 4 or 5 level graphics. They're not at that level. They're somewhat close, but they're not there. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a quick showcase of what this game is and kind of guess how it works. And if you guys want to see any more content like this, leave it down in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to play this game because I freaking adore this game. So let me actually go back to the main menu here. So when you start up Run 8, when you have no DLCs, see down here in the route selection, you have a couple options. You have Barstow, Yermo, Cajon, Mojave, Needles, San Bernardino, and Seligman. So you, as a new player, only start with 3 of the 6 routes that I have. I have these 6 routes because I purchased 3 of them as DLCs. The 3 that you start with are Barstow, Yermo, so Barstow, California, Barstow in Southwest California, Mojave, which is also Southwest California, and Needles, which is also Southwest California. The vast majority of these routes are in Southwest California for BNSF and UP. There are routes for CSX and NS available in places like Georgia and Selkirk Terminal and whatnot, but I'm not really a big fan of the East Coast. I mean, don't get mad at me for that. I just enjoy the West Coast. I like watching big, heavy BNSF and UP trains just truck through the desert and countryside, but that's just me. So I have, of course, the Southwest US selected. So I'm going to click on Select Scenario, and there's a lot of different autosaves here. Don't worry about that. The only 2 saves that you're going to have when you start are V3 Busy Barstow and the default route session. So I'm going to click on the default route session. These other saves will be made as time goes on. I'll click on the default route session. I'm going to launch that. Plays a nice little jingle as you go into the game. So it's going to load the route databases first off. So if you do it this way, you can load all of your routes at once. So they're all connected and you can run trains between the routes. If you, at the main menu, actually click on one of those routes, like instead of just selecting the region, they actually click on just Barstow Yermo, it's only going to load Barstow Yermo. So that's something very important to bear in mind. Now you notice at the top left, you'll see this purple text where it says placing trains. So this route comes equipped with trains already on it. That's why I'm a big fan of it. You don't have to start with trains. If you want to, you can start a brand new save where you can place everything, where you can set up everything. So for now, to make things easier, I'm actually going to press T to access the AI traffic menu, and I'm actually going to disable random AI traffic just for now, because that's something I'm going to get into later. So, first off, before I do anything, I'm going to showcase what's called the dispatcher menu. So if you press F3, you can enter the dispatcher menu. Now this is the dispatcher menu for the Union Pacific BNSF Mojave sub, and you've got everything here. You've got the Sanborn to Barstow, you've got the Palmdale cutoff for UP and Southern Pacific, and of course, I'm not sure if this is how dispatching looks in Canada. I actually haven't seen one. I'm a little bit kind of embarrassed that I haven't, but I digress. So this is the entire route for the Mojave subdivision. So you'll notice that there are these little blue squares that have names on them. So of course, those are the other subdivisions you can click on. So you won't have access to Cajon or Bakersfield. I actually don't have Bakersfield, so I don't even know what it is. But if I were to click on Yermo over here, we actually move over to Barstow Yermo in Southern California. So, and of course, the same thing occurs if I were to click on Needles here. That also happens. So by default, you can run something here from Needles, from the Needles Amtrak station, all the way up to either Saco or Lopez, just past Bakersfield on BNSF trackage, which is a pretty long way. I believe it's almost 300 to 400 miles worth of trackage. So it's a pretty far distance to drive. It actually takes, I think, close to, in-game, it maybe takes about an hour and a half to manually drive from one to the other, depending on your speed and any speed restrictions that are imposed. But anyways, the main reason I'm opening up this menu now is to showcase a certain feature. So if I were to press F1, you'll notice this little drop-down menu comes up where you have a couple of options. You've got Auto DS, which is what I wanted to show you. Auto DS is Auto Dispatcher. So if I click this on, now AI is going to manage this entire subdivision for me. It's going to direct trains to where they need to go at I shouldn't say somewhat precise. It gets every train where they're going, but sometimes the AI, it has a tougher time navigating trains, and there's more of them, as of course a real person would. But sometimes the AI can be a little bit stupid, and it can cause traffic jams that require you to either reverse trains or flat out delete them. It's a little annoying, but as long as your subdivisions don't get stupidly crowded, then it will basically never happen. Now, something else I want to notice here as well is symbol mode. So if you click on this, notice how you'll see these patterns of letters here. So these are train IDs. They're very different from the ones that we have in Canada. But over here, you've got QSTO Alt 6. So this is a BNSF high priority intermodal train heading from, I don't know where STO is, but I know that ALT is Alliance, Texas. So this is heading to Alliance, Texas. So if you don't want to see that, if you click on symbol, instead, it just shows the unit number. So it'll just show you BNSF 9219. It only showcases the lead unit. So bear that in mind. So I'm playing on my computer here. There we go. So it only showcases the lead unit. And if you hover over a symbol, it tells you everything you need to know about it. It tells you its symbol. It tells you its lead unit, who's controlling it. So right now there's no engineer controlling it. That can mean one of two things. That means either the train has, that means that it's AI controlled right now. It's AI controlled. If you're controlling the train and you're driving it, then it should say that the engineer is you. All right, it won't actually say YOU, but it'll say your username, but I digress. It tells you the train's length in feet. So this one here is 6,325 feet. And it tells you the horsepower per ton, which is 3.8, which is very, very good. Here in Canada, our trains are mostly very underpowered and rarely reach numbers like that. So the more horsepower per ton you have, if you know anything about trains, essentially, the better your acceleration, the faster you go, and more importantly, the lower your chance of failure is if you're pulling a heavy load up a hill. But that's besides the point. So I'm going to head over quickly to Barstow Yermo to showcase one of my personal favorite features of the game. But first, I'm going to teach you about spawning. So first off, if you want to even look around here, you have to hold right-click, generates a little red X, and you can use your mouse to look around. You have to hold right-click the entire time, so bear that in mind. You can zoom in with your scroll wheel, or zoom out with your scroll wheel. To return to like the default camera at any point in time, you can just press down on your mouse wheel and it completely resets to the original camera position. You can move forward, backwards, left, and right. And I do apologize that my frames are a little low. My computer is not the best currently. So if you want to get around a bit faster, you can hold Shift while moving to move slightly faster, or Control while moving to move much faster. So this could be a way to get around, but if you want to get around a lot faster, I suggest you hold Shift and then F12. And now if you use the buttons Q and E, you're able to rise and lower yourself. So now I can actually fly around and you can move so much quicker. So this is me moving by holding Shift, and this is Control. You move significantly quicker. It's not even a contest. Oh, well, there's a train heading westbound. So this is Barstow Yard in southwestern California. Beautiful place. Have not been here in real life. Would love to one day. If I do, I'll definitely take some videos, post that on the channel. You know, the usual stuff. So I'm going to showcase something that came out in this game not fairly recently, but somewhat recently, and that is hump operations. So if I head over to the polar end of Barstow Yard here, you can see the hump right here. So a cool feature that was added with Run 8 v3 a couple of years ago was you no longer have to manually hump. You used to be able to have to manually hump all the time, which is great for people who want extreme realism or want to do like a server, because you can do servers in this game with multiple people. If you're like me and you're kind of lazy and you want things to happen automatically, if you press Shift and then F6, nope, my mistake, Control and then F6, you can access the hump menu. Now you're going to see a bunch of stuff here. So these two buttons allow you to just save and remove presets of tags in the yards as such, and basically just choose what goes where. So all of these tags right here, these will be on rail cars. So any rail cars that have the tag M-bar SBD or H-bar SDG will all be sent into track 1, which is that one right there. They will all be sent over there. Now that we're at the hump yard here, reopen this menu, I'm going to close it. So with the hump controller, now you can do this. You can enable the auto pin puller. This is the new feature right here. Well, both of these are, I should say. So now this is going to automatically hump anything that comes near it. Now, you can hump manually. Like if you just drive a train backwards, you can hump it like that. Or you can not do that, and you can do something else if you're lazy like me, which I'll show you in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to show you another cool feature. So if you, with your mouse, hover in the top left of your screen, you'll see another menu that pops up. It's only here when you move your mouse up here. So you'll see a bunch of different things like sim options, train, controls, dispatcher. So if you head over to dispatcher and you click engage auto on all routes, then guess what happens? Boom. Now you've enabled auto dispatcher for every single one of your routes. If you want to disable auto dispatcher for any one of your routes in particular, you can just press F3 again to re-enter the dispatcher menu, press F1, and disable auto dispatcher for any one region that you want, or even multiple regions if you just click on these to move through them, or press F3 just again to cycle. Now going back to the hump operations, if I were to take this train over here and click on it, takes a second. So this is BNSF number 3048. Now you're probably wondering what the heck, why is this not an actual BNSF GP40-2 like it's supposed to be? So what this game does is when you don't have access to certain assets, the game replaces them with its own assets. So this game has its own railroad in it called the Run W, or Run Western Railroad, that has all kinds of equipment. It has GP40-2s, SD40-2s, a C44-9W, 2 different SD70 AC Ace liveries, an SD40-2T, and an SD45-2. Yeah, it's got those ones. There is in the actual train menu that you can open to build things. The name of the locomotive is called Run 8 ES44DC, but it isn't a Run 8 ES44DC. It's a BNSF ES44DC painted in the H1 scheme. So I believe it's, yes, one of these. This is it here. It's a BNSF ES44DC with the painted in the H1 scheme. So not sure why that's like that, but I'm not going to question it. So anyways, if I go back to this train here, you'll notice there's a lot of stuff here. So most importantly, a lot of this stuff, I'm going to be honest, I still don't understand. If you know more about this, that is stellar. Please teach me. I wish I knew more about this than I actually do, but I'll share what I know. So this button here, Auto Start All, turns on every single locomotive in the consist. So if I were to click on that, you can hear them starting up. So auto MUDP essentially automatically checks all of the DPU connections and tells you if they're all right. Yep, so checked it twice, and you've got 2 OK DPU connections. Automatic end of train device just puts an EOT at the end of at the back of the train. Auto air brakes will reset any will close all open angle cocks, and along with refill the air brake system. Auto circuit breakers will set the headlights and of course your isolation switches. Your fuel is of course here. There's a cheat that you can click. If you just click refuel, it sets the fuel to full. There are points around the map where trains can refuel. Like I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, there is... Well, that's one there in the yard, but also just outside the yard. Yep, right there. That's one there. So that's there. And that's a place where they can refuel. So now if I come back to this, at the very, very bottom, neglecting everything else, you'll see the train symbol. So this is essentially what will dictate everything. Where your train goes and how the AI treats it. Or more precisely, how you would treat it. So if you want a train to automatically hump, like I do, you just type the word hump into the tag. There does have to be a space, but the H does not have to be capitalized. So this can be named anything. It can be named one letter. It can be named one number. It could be named chocolate banana smoothie sundae, if you so want to. As long as the word hump follows it with a space, it will work. So now if I press AI recrew, in the top left, look at that, says BNSF 3040 has been recruited by AI for humping, and that the Barstow hump has found the AI. So now this train is going to slowly back up. You should honk the horn 3 times pretty soon. It's going to back up and slowly hump this cut of cars, or rather entire consist of cars, if I might add. There it goes. So that's going to take a little while to kind of get up and running. So while that happens, I'm going to show you something else. So in this game, there's a lot of AI trains, lots of trains that you can just either move between places or just have run, just to make things look more realistic. So if I again press T to reopen the AI traffic menu, in the AI traffic section, you can turn on random AI traffic. You can toggle the minutes between each spawn time, the maximum number of trains, which is 120. You can't go above that. And the train symbol timeout. So this essentially means that when a train is placed, the same train symbol cannot be used more than once for this amount of time in-game, which is actually in real life, by the way. Because if I show you again, if I hover over this menu and I use date and time, currently it says that it is March 3rd of 2017, which is not right. That's not the date at all. But if I click use system time, boom. See how the time, what the heck? The lighting even changes. So now it's August 22nd of 2025 at 2:15. Yeah, 2:15 in the afternoon. That is not the time it is here in Canada. That is the time in Barstow, California. This system uses the real weather and real time of the place where it is set. So in this case, Barstow, California, it is currently August 14th, or 22nd, excuse me, and it is 2:15 in the afternoon. Yeah, it is currently 2:15 in the afternoon, it might be 2:16. That doesn't activate over time. Bam, now it's 2:16. So that's essentially that. Now, back to the AI trains menu. So if I click on AI status here, you can see every single AI-controlled train in existence. So you can see the lead unit, the train symbol, and if you want to, you can teleport to the train. It also tells you what the train is doing. So it tells you if the train is holding, so if it's waiting for something, if it's stopping, which, if it's stopping, that doesn't actually mean that it's stopping. It could mean that it's stopping, but most of the time, it just means that the train is moving and waiting to stop if a dispatcher tells it to. That's just how the game is done. There's an overseer button. There's a couple overseer buttons that just say release all trains, hold all trains, stop all trains, or delete all trains. Not sure why you want to do that, but I mean, if you want a fresh start, go right the heck ahead. I'm not really sure why you want to do that, but yeah, see, look over here. Train number 30, BNSF 3048, LCAL 1161 hump. That's ours. So if I go back to AI traffic generation, and I click on spawn points, you'll see all of these places where trains can spawn. Now, because I have additional routes, I have access to those spawn points. You, when you start the game, will not have access to those spawn points. You will have access to most of these, just not all of them. You won't have anything that has access that says Seligman, San Bernardino. Yeah, no, that's just that. Yeah, you won't have access to anything that says San Bernardino or Seligman. Everything else you should have access to. Well, most of them anyways. Some of these spawn points I've made myself because we actually make spawn points. So I made this spawn point at the LA Harbor and whatnot. But anyways, let's say I want to spawn in a train. Let's say I want a train to come out of... Where's a good place? You know what? The Lenwood, Maine. Sure, if I do Lenwood, Maine 1, and I select train types, I could just click spawn, get a random train, but I want to get specific. Let's just say that. I click train types. Boom. Now that opens up this menu here. A lot of very important stuff here. So this is the type of train that you want to spawn. So you have access. You have the option of spawning a saved train, a bare table train, a domestic containers train, intermodal, which is, by the way, piggyback, intermodal containers, which is a standard intermodal, a light power move, mixed containers, so those are like foreign containers, mixed freight, which is manifest, mixed intermodal, which is intermodal combined with a unit, or intermodal combined with piggyback, passenger, which is Amtrak in this game, only Amtrak, unit auto rack, coal, coil steel, grain, oil, refrigerator, aggregate, and Bethgone coal. So let's say I want a mixed freight train. I'm going to click on train symbols again to get incredibly specific. So we got 4 different trains here. So because I've played this game for a little while and I'm familiar with symbols, I know which of these are BNSF and which of these are UP IDs. Typically, Union Pacific IDs are very short and don't have dashes. So if I look at these, when I see manifest, which is what M stands for, dash SDG VA, which is, I believe, somewhere in Washington, I can tell that's a BNSF train. Also, because I'm clicking on it, I can see that it's using ES44 and SA78 BNSF locomotives, right? Same thing with this one, only this one's using Run W equipment. Let me actually check something really quickly. How close are we to doing this? Because I don't want you guys to miss it. Because it is quite fascinating to watch. Right here. We got a little bit of time still. Got to speed things along here. So let me go back. So if I want to spawn in a manifest train, let's say I want to do that. Let's say I want to... Oh, that's the wrong train. That's the wrong spawn point. Oops. There we go. Let's say I want to do mixed freight. All right, so let's just say I want to make a new symbol called... We'll make it called M, so manifest, dash, which is very important for BNSF symbol, mod, which is Modesto, California, and bar, which is Barstow. So the first 3 letters of a BNSF ID are where the train's coming out of. The last 3 letters are where the train is going to. A dash, and then hashtag. So the reason you want those actually aren't supposed to be at the end of the Union Pacific IDs. So those are only supposed to be at the end of BNSF IDs, because BNSF IDs have numbers at the end of them. And that double hashtag essentially allows you, is a cue to the game's AI to generate 2 random numbers. So if you want to spawn this symbol twice, you can, and it'll be a different number. So you can have M mod bar 37 and M mod bar 95 if you want to. So now we can select the locomotive type. So let's say we want ES44s, SD78s, and C44-9Ws. Only of BNSF. Sure, we can do BNSF. We don't need any caboose, is just their word way of saying caboose. We don't need any cabooses, but they are in the game. They're part of a DLC, sadly. We don't want any mid-train. We do want DPUs on the end, at least in my case. I'll tag it for industries. And this right here, these are essentially the tracks that it's allowed to use. So if it's allowed to use the Tehachapi eastbound or westbound, Cajon westbound main 1, main 2, and an eastbound main 1 or main 2. That's just how it works. And then, of course, the train's priority. So I'm going to quickly spawn this thing in and then delete it because I don't want this anymore. So it spawned. I promise you it did actually spawn. And I'll show you where it is in a moment because this is about to start. So this is, of course, our UTLX tank car. So that yellow sign right there is where the cut of the car actually takes place. So once the desired number of cars, which I believe maxes out at 3, only up to 3 cars can be humped at once. The hump, will cut the cars, and they will flow to their desired track. I'll give it a second. I think it might cut here. It doesn't usually cuts. It's got tank cars only. No, no, I take it back. Will not be cutting that. So it should cut when this Golden West Service boxcar moves over. This old Southern Pacific boxcar. There you go. It's cut that, and it instantly closes the ankle cock so it doesn't lose any air brake pressure. And those are going to roll over the brake pads to slow them down, and they will move into their desired... Oh, geez, that screech. And they will move into their desired track, and they will eventually connect with any and all rolling stock. That is, well, I should say all rolling stock if there's stuff here. They should connect with the majority of the rolling stock that's there. Pretty freaking neat, isn't it? It's a hump yard. It's awesome. So now about that other train that I showed you earlier. So Lenwood Main 1 is, if I'm not mistaken, back here. It is... Yep. That should be our train. Yeah, there we are. It's led by a trio of Dash 9s. The ones in the H2 scheme. Not bad. So if I press F3, actually, and I check this. Oh, yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, so you'll notice how this train is actually being directed into the yard. So that's because I put the bar tag on it. So whenever you have a train that has a tag of a yard that you own, the AI will actually direct that train into the yard so you can perform any operations that you need to. So the yards that you have in the game by default are Bakersfield Yard over here, which the AI actually can't direct into unless it's coming from the west, because you can only flip these switches here. There's no actual switch that can be flipped here, at least not by the game. You have to do it. It's a manual switch. Barstow Yard here, either the north and south departure yard, and then Yermo Yard up here, which is Union Pacific's yard, which is also which that tag is YR. Let me actually do a little bit of a deeper explanation about railroad tags, and of course, trains themselves. So if I actually quickly terminate my game for a second here, I want to open up this website here. So this website is called The Depot. The Depot, a Run 8 train simulator community. So this is a active community of people who have basically just made it their mission to make the game easier to play for everyone, because for a new player, this game can be quite difficult and at times daunting. So there's all kinds of useful information here. There's forums. If you need, excuse me, there's all kinds of forums here. If you need some specific information, you can get it there. You can create a server or join a server with a bunch of people. However, I will let you know that the application process is very, very extensive. So the reason I come here is to get IDs. So if I hover over reference and I click on the drop-down menu here, you'll see a bunch of stuff here. So this is very, very useful. So there's all kinds of things here that I use, but I personally, the thing that I use the most are these train symbols. So if I click on this, bring me to this page. So now, because I'm in Southern California, which is where I am, boom, now I'm here. So this is the train symbol menu for Southwest California. So everything here is essential. So you have your train type prefixes for both BNSF and Union Pacific. So these are the letters at the very, very start of each consist. The only one of these that's a little bit misleading is actually Amtrak, because you can just put in the train symbol Amtrak in all caps and then the number. So you could put, like, if you have Los Angeles, you can put 640 something. Or if you want to run like the Southwest Chief, you can run Amtrak number 3 or Amtrak 4. The Southwest Chief. If you want, like, that's just it. Yeah, that's it for BNSF. That's pretty easy. Like, there's a lot of stuff that actually, not every single train here has a symbol. Like, there's no Amtrak symbol here in any of these examples that I'm about to show you. There's also no light engines. You know, there's a lot of stuff. There's some stuff that isn't here, but I mean, make your own stuff, right? That's how the game works. So over here, let's say you scroll down here. So you've got all these symbols here, starting with A, which are Union Pacific automotive trains, which come out of their respective places and arrive at their respective places. This is what the whole thing looks like. So if I, for example, wanted to spawn in something, a train that heads to Barstow, California, I would look over here and look at the BNSF manifest trains and look for any of these trains that head to Barstow, California. So like M Alt Bar or Back Bar, which are from Alliance and Bakersfield. Or I can have trains that run out of Barstow, so ones that head to Bakersfield, Belen, New Mexico, Kansas City. All right. I mean, if you actually scroll down here, see that? Mod Bar, that's the train that I made earlier, which came out of Modesto, California, and went into Barstow, California. So this website is very, very helpful for all kinds of really just niche things. It's just the small things in this game that can kind of screw with you at times if they aren't handled properly. All right. Oh yeah, that's a little something I should actually mention as well. So trains can derail in this game, and the windage must be pretty high in California right now because these cars are swaying a ton. So sometimes when one of two things can happen. Sometimes when your windage is very high in your game, your cars can start to sway, and eventually, yes, they will tip over if the winds are strong enough or if they're swaying too hard. Or what's even weirder is that sometimes if your frames are too low, which is probably what's happening in my case, if your frames are too low, sometimes your rolling stock will just sway from side to side. It is the darnest thing. I'm pretty sure it's a bug, and the fine folks over at Run 8 Studios are looking to patch it. It's really weird, but, I mean, it doesn't happen with everything. Like, look at these empty center beam flat cars are swaying quite a bunch. Then I turn around here, and, like, this box car is fine. These tank cars are fine. Even the center beams over there are fine, but those ones aren't. It seems to happen more with unloaded cars than it does with anything that's loaded, so I'm assuming that based on that, all these cars are loaded with something. So that's probably why. Now let me go into something that's pretty sweet and probably your best friend in this game if you want to have for having fun. So if you press Control and then F1, you enter the Train Baker Upper. This is your best friend whenever you play this game. So, we'll say right off the bat, you have nothing related to Amtrak. Nothing. Except for these two auto racks. But yeah, other than those two auto racks, you don't have anything for Amtrak. I bought the Amtrak packs, or some of them, or one of them, excuse me. So I have the Amtrak P42s in phase 4, 3, 4, and 5. I've got, you've got like standard baggage, you've got check baggage, coaches, diners, lounges, and then Amtrak's old mail service, sleepers, and transition sleepers. Now if I head over here to the freight locos, this is where stuff gets fun. Sadly, by default, you only have one C44-9W, and it's the Run 8 one right here. I wish you had more than that by default, but you don't. Sadly. That's why I said, unfortunately, a lot of this game's content is locked behind a paywall. Oh yeah, I forgot, Run 8, the RNW Railway also has an MP15. Totally forgot. So, the types of locomotives that are in this game include the C44-9W, GP40-2, MP15, SD40-2, SD40T-2, SD45-2, ES44DC, and SD70ACE. Not a lot. I do wish there was a greater variety of locomotive power in this game. Like I would like to see larger, heavy EMD power, like maybe the SD60Es, like the Norfolk Southern SD60Es are beautiful, especially 911, like 911, beautiful. Even like Union Pacific's SD9043 Max are some very, not necessarily nice locomotives, but it would just be cool to diversify the roster a little bit more, which will likely happen as time continues to press on. I think it's going very quickly. So, this hump operation is stopped. Okay. Oh, yes, because track 1 is full. Okay. Perfect time to showcase. So, every so often, the hump yard of a specific track will get full. And when it does, the train will stop humping. So, track 1 here is full. So, I now have to get something to pull that guy, or to pull this train out. So, that I'm going to do now. But first, I have to make sure that all these switches are set properly because every single one of these switches is manually set. So I have to individually cross over and set all of these just like a yardman would. It's a little bit tedious and a little bit annoying at times, but once you set up all the switches the first time, you basically, in like your new save, you basically never have to do them again. It's essentially a one-time thing. Unless you want to like completely change the direction in which your trains are moving. But I mean, that is, like all things in this game, completely up to you. So this I'm actually going to have just barely bypass the departure yards onto the main line, which that should be where CTC starts. Okay, good stuff. Now, right, I'm going back. I'm supposed to be back here. So now, to pull this train, I need three. Well, why did I say three? I need some locomotives. So this train is not very long. It's probably only about 30 or 40 cars. So I can probably pull this with a pair of Jeeps or SD40s. So I think what I'll actually get is I think I might just get a GP40-2, and I'm going to get an MP15. So now that I have this, cool feature about this game is the fact that I am actually able to reverse these locomotives. So if I want to, I can drag the MP15 by clicking it and moving it up. So now it is the first one in line, but if I hover over a locomotive and press right click, boom, it's set to reverse. So now if I click place train and hover it over here, just like that, we've placed our consist. So now I'm going to, good lord, my frames, what is happening right now? It's normally not this slow. Oh, my computer is something special sometimes. Okay, so now I have this Run 8 beautiful GP40-2. I'm going to automatically start it. I'm going to circuit break it. And I'm also going to refuel it. Same thing with the MP15 here. I'm also going to release the handbrakes on the MP15, but not on you. Actually, it shouldn't move. Yeah, okay. Because this is a bit of a hill, sometimes if you have heavier locomotives, they will start to move down the hill if you release the handbrakes completely. Okay, now the engine is completely running. So, to actually make this engine move, you want to press Control and then F11. Boom. It teleports you inside the cab, where you can actually manually click and drag any of these switches. So if I were to grab the reverser here, set it backwards, before I pull throttle, as is customary in the US, when a train has to move in the reverse direction, it has to honk its horn 3 consecutive times. So something like that. And of course, if I were to press my acceleration key, which I've set to numpad plus, you can set it to any button you want. So we're moving backwards here. You also see the speedometer right there. See how fast we're moving. I'm going to lower my speed so I don't smack the cars. A little bit late for that, I suppose. Oh, fiddlesticks. Great way to showcase! I pushed one of the cars. I pushed the train too far back, and I think one of the trucks derailed. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. God friggin' heck. One of the trucks derailed, I'm pretty sure, which is why the train stopped. Should be on, I think, CEFX or something like that. Oh, good lord. How will I even know which one of these is off the rail? Oh! Right freaking there! Yeah, push the truck right off the track. Okay, if I click on that and I click, I believe it's, yeah, re-rail. Boom. That's a cheaty way to do it. Yeah, exactly. See that? What a piglet would be reminding you of a frog. Exactly. So, if you want to, you can place a frog on either side, and then actually position the train, or then actually start moving the train in the desired direction that you want. So, based on how easily that consist moved, I'm going to assume that this train is unloaded. So, I'm actually going to randomly load it so that there's at least a little bit of weight on this thing. So now, I'm not actually going to drive this train myself. I'm going to give it a symbol. So let me actually go back to the depot and give it an ID. Now, this train is not exactly large enough to be a big freight train to be like a main freight train, but we're gonna do a freight train anyways, just because, you know, just to keep this thing simple. So I will do high priority. Yeah, you know what? I'll do this. H bar tool. So I'll hover over this, copy it with Control C, of course, as is on your keyboard, and double click this, click Control V, boom. Now I can add the dash and whatever number I want. So we'll do 32. So now, if I click on AI recrew, now it's been recrewed by the AI, and it should be pulled shortly. Just want to quickly make sure that these switches are set properly, which I should have done beforehand, but if you live and learn. We set properly? Yes, they are. Thank goodness. Yeah, if you have switches that aren't set properly, the trucks will get pulled onto other rails, and they'll get caught. They'll jackknife your train. It's not fun to get them out like that. I almost always just delete the trains whenever that happens because it's such a pain in the behind to unjackknife a train. Now you see we got the train moving. Now, something that I love about this game is the fact that you can actually customize the sounds yourself. It's not necessarily difficult, but it can be daunting to someone who's new. So I'll show you something quickly. So if I could press on Control and then F3, you open up the horn bell config menu, which shows you every single locomotive in the game, along with the horn and bell that it is programmed to. So I'm actually going to quickly grab an MP15 and showcase every single horn that I have. Of course, this thing is beautiful to just watch kind of pull out of the yard like this. And if my game would stop freezing, that'll be greatly appreciated, because, oh my goodness, it is infuriating at times. So this should pull out of Barstow Yard. And which RD did I use? Tool. It should head to Tulsa. I believe OK is Oklahoma. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I believe, yeah, OK is Oklahoma. So hoping I'm right. Oh, that is a very fast grain train. They don't normally travel that fast. Huh. Oh, good lord, it's massive, too. Holy cow. Oh, yeah, that thing's massive. Oh, over here we've got some foreign power on this this manifest train over. Oh, no, sorry, this intermodal train over here. We got a lot of foreign power. We've got 2 CSX Gevos and Norfolk 170 ACE. My. Kyurichi? Or Rikchi? Huh. That's a BNSF ID. So this entire train is just composed of foreign power. Huh. I'll be darned. Well, shoot. Alright then. Let's see what's happening, actually. Why is this train not moving? Out of curiosity, is there something down the line that's impeding its movement? Yes, you are. Why are you not moving? Because you're not moving. Holy guacamole, this is full. Yeah, this is what I mean by by trying not to have your areas get too jammed up, because look at this. We've got 3 main lines, all of which are completely and utterly clogged with trains. Yeah, all of them are completely clogged with trains, so any trains heading eastbound just can't right now, because all of these rails are completely covered. So essentially what has to happen now is that these guys all have to go first to clear the way. So this guy has to go first. These guys also have to go first as well. So does this... Is that the end of the manifest train? Yeah, it is. Oh, it's the front. Yeah, and this is going to continue, yeah, all the way back onto Needles for a little while. There's one train coming out of Needles, but once those trains finish passing, then the other ones will be able to head eastbound toward Needles and eventually Seligman if you have that route. Oh yes, cool feature to describe. If even moving this fast, it can still take you some time to traverse a subdivision. So if you want to make your life easier, if you press F3, hover over any switch, and press the spacebar, it instantly teleports you there. And if you want to get into a more cinematic view, in that case, if you want to stop flying, if you just press the 4 key on your keyboard, bam, you're right back on the ground. And if I press E, it doesn't actually lift me up anymore. It tries to, but because you're like tied to the ground, you actually can't be lifted up anymore. So I'll press Shift and F12 to get back up in the air again. Oh yes, and trains in this game do automatically follow the traditional horn cycle that's in the US and Canada, that being 2 longs, a short, and a long. The only 2 horn signals that the AI will actually use are besides, actually 3, I guess, if you count the crossing signal, are the 2 toots of the horn before when a train was about to move forward, and the 2 toots of a horn when a train is about to move backwards. Typically, that's all about that it does. I do kind of wish it did more, but I think that they're going to add more features like that when this game gets updated. Sadly, because the studio was a bit smaller too, updates do take a decent time to kind of come out. It's a little bit disheartening at times, but when stuff comes out for this game, it tends to work really freaking well, really stinking well. So they do their best, and honestly, their best is pretty good. So actually here, I'm going to actually click 4 and sit right beside the railroad crossing here where this other intermodal train is occupying it. Wait a little. And there you go. Yeah, you can see it coming through, and it's performing the original horn sequence. Lots of sweet opportunities for rail fanning in this game, if that's your thing. You totally could do it in this game. Like, you could just set up a point at a railroad crossing and just turn on AI generated trains and just wait to see what comes by. You totally could do that. Not really my thing, but I mean, it's pretty freaking sweet that you can do something like that. So now, let me do what I said I was going to do earlier and showcase every single horn that I have in this game, including the ones that come default with the game and ones that I have made myself, because you can import custom sound files into this game for horns and bells and basically anything. Even if you want to import a prime mover in here, you totally could. You can import bell sounds, engine idle sounds, air brake sounds, basically port in anything that you want. Adjusting horns and bells are the easiest. Adjusting prime movers, not so much, because horns and bells, you're supposed to be able to adjust them individually for each unit. Prime movers, not really. You'd have to change the prime mover sound for everything. But anyways, besides the point. Let me actually click on this. Make sure that I know where it is. There it is, okay. So we'll start off at the very, very top. So it says Ford 01. So that is not an actual horn. Funny enough, I actually go to other right here, and I type on Hi-Rail MOW BNSF Ford, you'll find that it's literally just a truck. It's a rail maintenance vehicle. There's all kinds of cool stuff here. Like, there's also a shelf platform and a track mobile up here. Pretty neat stuff, but besides the point. So of course you can start off with this, and if I press H, yeah, it's just a car horn. You could like totally have that. Not really sure why you'd want to, but I mean, it's up to you. So I'm actually going to go through the bells first. I have 9 different bells. So you have your standard electronic bell. Pretty standard. That's what you see most of the time. And then, of course, the rest of them are manual bells. You only have one E-bell, which is it's just this one you hear all the time. And then you've got manual bells. So there's this one. Pretty Alco sounding. I love it, personally. This is one that I have on this unit by default. Also Alco sounding, just have a lower pitch. And there's the third one here. Still sounds a bit Alco, kind of higher pitch. Number 4 here. This is more of a, I guess, what you could describe as a modern E-bell. Like, you could hear these on like Amtrak Genesis P42s and whatnot. That's what I have on them. normally by default. That is a bell I imported from TRS 2019, or Trains Railroad Simulator 2019, for any of you who know that game. I imported it from there. Some of these audio assets are actually from that game, funny enough. Like, so is this one. And I believe this one is too. Yes, it is. That one is too. That one is actually from MSTS, for those of you who know Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a BNSF H1-9 that has a beautiful horn that I cannot for the life of me program into this game because it's too short. So I'm going to keep trying to do that, but if it doesn't work, then, well, I'm still going to keep trying. That is a horn that I recorded a few years ago when I was on an excursion train. I was at this really, really old American, like, narrow gauge steam locomotive. But anyways, now we can move on to some bigger stuff. So now we can move on to the K3LA, the first K3LA that I have. Yep, there's that. Almost kind of CSX sounding. And then the second one. Very nice one. And then the third. Yeah, that one is a lower pitch version of one that I already have, of like the standard one, because this one comes with the game. Very, very a big fan of that one. I have it on every single one of the Union Pacific Heritage units, even though that isn't exactly what they have. Very CSX sounding. This one I also imported from TRS 2019. Oh, okay, that K3L, we're going to come back to that, because that is my favorite horn that I have. And then this other one here. That is a K3L I actually imported from a website that sells train horns. Not really sure why they just let me have it, but I'm not going to complain. Pretty standard K5HL. So a lot of these horns are higher and lower pitch versions of the standard ones. But otherwise, they're still pretty freaking sweet. Like, some of them I even added some reverb on. And if you wanted to, and if you have the skill, you can record these sounds in real life, upload them, as long as they're .wav or .wave files. They work. Like, they'll work. Just as long as they're those types of files, then they'll work. There's the Amtrak K5LA, which is beautiful. And then I have the higher pitch version of it, and then there's the lower pitch. I take that back. I had that inverted. That's the higher pitch. And then there's this other miscellaneous one that I have. Also imported that one from TRS 2019. And then the K5LLA. This is normally on the BNSF SD70 ACE. But honestly, that for me just sounds too high pitched for a BNSF SD70 ACE. It's what I still have on the CSX SD70 ACE because it's also on that. But this is the one I keep on the BNSF SD70 ACE. Beautiful. Wait a second. I've inverted it again. The K5LLA number 2 is what I have on the CSX SD70 ACE. And the number 1 is what I have on the BNSF. My goodness, why am I messing up so much today? Oh well. So this is this right here. So this is the horn that's on the Run 8-9. Very strange horn. I really am not sure what it actually is. I don't actually know what this horn is. If you do know what it is, let me know down in the comments below. And then, of course, there's a lower pitch version of it. Because the horn is already quite high pitch, I did not at all want to make it more high pitch because it's going to delete my eardrums if I do. That horn does not sound very good. I imported it from TRS 2019, but for some reason it just doesn't sound very good. So I haven't given it a name just yet. Same goes for this one. This one is the same as my other one of my K3LAs up here, but the one I have up there is just a better version of this one here. Because this one actually, you notice when I let go of it, there's that little dong at the very end, which there shouldn't be. So that's just something that I wanted to get rid of, and which I did. So I actually have to remove that one. And then, of course, I moved to the P3R4. That is a very nice horn, in my personal opinion. So is the higher pitch version of it, too. And then to the RS3K. So these are some of my favorite horns in this game because these are on the Run 8 ST70 ACEs. So this is on the first one. And then this one, some of you should actually recognize. If you've ever seen a video of a very, very old Burlington Northern ST40-2 pulling a local somewhere in the US on a foreign railroad, you'll know where that sound comes from. And then they have versions of each. That one sounds completely different. I actually have that one on the KCS, ST70 ACE. That one I don't think I have on any one because I just didn't really like how it turned out, but I still have it just in case I change my mind. And then there's a couple of RS3Ls. Beautiful horns. I basically only have them on my Norfolk Southern locomotives because that's the only place they belong. Not a good one, too. Yeah, that one's a little bit finicky. That one's nice. And then lastly, the RS5Ts. That's the one that was on my GP40-2. And then finally this one is what I have on this one here by default. Now, if I go all the way up to the top, my friend, Michael Walters, Elevators, Roblox, and More, who I preach very often on this channel. By the way, you should totally go over to his channel and hit that subscribe button. He deserves it. But a few years back, he made a video showcasing YDHR 101, the cab car at the time, showcasing that train's beautiful horn. So I took that video, isolated the audio, and turned it into a horn for this game. An absolutely beautiful K3L. One of my favorite horns that I've ever heard. Definitely my favorite horn that I have in this game. It is... oh, it's such a pleasure to have something like that. It's not perfect. Like, you can hear a little bit of the background noise. But honestly, I'm not picky. I just want to have that kind of a sound, or that specific sound, in this game. And I am proud to have it. I would have it no other way. But anyways, that is the last of the horns that I have. And I'm now realizing that this is no longer a very, very short video, so excuse me for that. But otherwise, I think I'm going to end this video here, because I've more than definitely showcased what Run 8 is, what it's all about, and really what you can expect from it. If you want to see more content on Run 8, let me know down in the comment section below. Again, I love making content for this game. I just love playing this game. I just love doing it so much. So, if you guys want me to play this game more often, I am certainly not going to complain. But all in all, that is going to do it for this video, guys. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching, folks. You're the best. If you like my type of content, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be informed when I upload my latest videos. Don't forget to subscribe to Michael Walters, Elevators, Roblox, and More, and Tyler M. Links to their channels are in this video's description. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.